Hey guys, my name is Mark from Jazz Guitar Lessons. Welcome to this video, which is Intervals for Guitarists, a visual approach to identifying intervals, hearing the intervals, practicing them. And it's good if you've never really worked on intervals. At the same time, if you have, this can be a quick refresher. And at the end, I have two very guitar-oriented exercises I can give you that can improve your techniques and your ears, which is amazing. And at the same time, I can say this is a fretboard navigation slash theory video, but I want to make it very implemented on the fretboard. So grab your guitar, please, and off we go. All right, some definitions. There's two definitions I got to get your way before we start working on it guitaristically, so you and I, we speak the same lingo. Number one, the interval, my very loose definition, is a measure of a distance between two notes. All right. So if I look at a note like C and then I go, oh, here's a note, it's called G, I can say, well, there's a distance between these two pitches. So instead of talking about frequencies like 330 hertz, we're going to talk in amount of pitches distance, and we will use a classical nomenclature. Namely, we will use unison, seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, and sevenths, and octave. So this is between 1 and 8, and the octave is, of course, C to C. And beyond that, we can go to talk about 11ths and 10ths and 13ths, but we won't go there in the video. It's not really used. And each of these intervals, distance, also can have a quality. That's a first piece of definition. Intervals means distance, all right? Second part of the definition is interval nomenclature depends strictly on letter name. So if I go from a note that's C, and then I tell you I have an E note, because it is 3-letter notes away, C, D, E, this has to be a third, okay? It has to be a third of some kind. If it were an E flat, I'd say it's a minor third. If it was an E natural, I'd say it's a major third. If it's an E sharp, guitarists like us will be tempted to go, oh, it's an E sharp, so it means it's a fourth, right? So it cannot be a fourth. It has to be cohesive with the distance in letter names. You've been warned. It's really important. If you go from a C to an A, it has to be a sixth, okay? Just because of the letter name nomenclature. This becomes clearer when you work on key signatures with sharps and flat at the clef, but this is really important, especially when you get to like exotic intervals like the augmented seconds that happen in the harmonic minor scale organically. So those are the two definitions I need to get to you. The rest of this video will be on the fretboard, which is crucial, so let's get going. All right, so let's start with the easy intervals. I love that. We're going to play a C, and then we just stay at the same fret and go play an F in the same fret, one string higher. So C to F, that's the interval of a fourth, correct? C, D, E, F, correct. So the fourth is right here, and that's what we will call a perfect fourth. And the other interval I want to cover is basically the power chord, which is, right? C to G is a fifth, so C, D, E, F, G, correct? It's a fifth, so we covered the fourth and the fifth, and these intervals are pretty open. You'll hear them, they don't have a resonance going towards anywhere. And the two other important intervals are the octave, so if I play a C and I play another C, like this, or if I play a C and another C here, this is called an octave, which means it's the same pitch repeated up an octave or down an octave, right? And the other interval that's pretty boring is called a unison. Unison would be if I played a C and I played another C here, which I don't have enough fingers for, so I go C and then E, C. And that's a unison. A unison is, well, typically it's two instruments and they're playing the same note. So these intervals, the fourth, the fifth, the octave, and the unison, can either be perfect, augmented, or diminished. Again, perfect, augmented, and diminished. So here's an example of a diminished fifth. I've got my fifth, and I'll diminish it by a half step, by a fret, basically, and that's a diminished fifth. So C to G flat. So C to G flat is a diminished fifth. Now, if you're quick and clever, you say, well, Mark, isn't that an augmented fourth? Well, you're kind of correct. If I go to an F and play C to F sharp, that is what we call an augmented fourth. However, it sounds the same. C to F sharp is an augmented fourth. However, C to G flat is a diminished fifth. And here's the reason. The process we call this is called enharmonics. Enharmonics means it sounds the same, but it has a different name. For now, it's not really useful because there's no context, but in context, this becomes extremely relevant. All right, now that we got our perfect and augmented and diminished intervals, I will just not get into augmented octaves, right? Say a C to a C and then to a C sharp. That would be called an augmented octave, but I don't even want to go there. It's really ugly and there's not a lot to do about that. Okay, we got the fourth, the fifth, the octave in the unison. What do we have left? We have the interval of a second, a third, a sixth, and a seventh. Wow, I'm running out of fingers here. So let's start with the interval of a second. So the second would be C to D. Typically an interval like this is played on the same string, but what I could do is stretch out and go C to D here. Or I could do C to open D if I wanted, right? That also works. So this is the interval of a second, and you can see how visually it's really just the next note that's a whole step above. If I have a minor second, right? And that's just a major second. And then augmented second would be crazy. So you get the major, the minor, and then the augmented is next to the major. But you don't have to know that. In jazz, it doesn't matter that much. Then we have the interval of a third. So that's C to E is the interval of a major third, followed by the interval of a minor third. Right? Those are the two intervals. So you see visually how I developed this sort of compass, this geography on the fretboard. I got my fourth, my fifth, I got my second, I got my third. What do we have left? We have the sixth. So C, D, E, F, G, A here, or I could do A. Or you could say this is like an extended power chord if you've played blues, like, right? So you get your A here. So that's a major sixth. If it were a minor sixth, you could go like this. And then the seventh is C to B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a major seventh, as in the major chord, major seventh chord, major seven. And then we got the minor seventh. Good, quick recap. What do we have so far? We have the interval of a unison and of an octave, pretty boring. Then we have the fourth and the fifth, which can be either perfect, diminished, or augmented. Then we went through the 2, the 3, the 6, and the 7. 2, 3, 6, 7 can be either major or minor, and sometimes diminished, but that's rare, okay? So with these intervals, we have pretty much everything you have in tonal music that can be used in classical, jazz, funk, blues, whatever, in pop music. That's what we need to know as far as intervals. Now, that said, it's one thing to know it and to look at it, but I really encourage you to stick your 2 or 3 strings together and work on intervals this way, so you have a guitarist visual map on how to do these. As I've demonstrated in the video, this is personally how I think of intervals all the time. And just a side note, this is pretty much better than just thinking of a visual pattern. It's good to know, oh look, I'm doing up a major sixth. Just before the exercises, people often ask me, oh Mark, but isn't that a third or a sixth? Yeah, so check it out. There's a sum total rule. It's called a 9 rule. Okay, it's pretty simple. If I play from the C to an A, for example, it's up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I play, however, from A to the next C, it's 3. 1, 2, 3. So 6, that's a major sixth. If I reverse it and put the C on top, that becomes a minor third. So 6 major becomes minor 3. And the same vice versa. So it always needs to add up to 9. So if you do a perfect fourth, reversed, it's going to be a perfect fifth, fourth and 9. But majors become minor, interestingly, and perfect intervals stay perfect. So that's just a sort of a side note. If you start to reverse your intervals, you're going to see how it works. And if you've ever played like country licks, like those are actually sixths, but the thing is, this is an inverted third. This is C, and then this, instead of playing, we play the other note on top, so it says, well, why would you play 6? I don't really understand 6. Well, it's just actually a third that's been doubled on the other end. All right, the 2 last exercises to finish the video. 1 easy diatonic, 1 harder, more chromatic. Exercise number 1. We will play the C note, followed by every interval within the C scale. So I'll play the C to the D, followed by the top C, and back down. So C, D, C, D. Then we're going to go C, E, C, E, C. On and on with all the notes of the scale. To the A. And when we reverse it, we want to do the opposite, but use that top note as an anchor. So I'm going to go C, B, C, B, C, C, A, C, A, C, C, G, C. So I'm going to do this one a bit much faster, but I really recommend you either call the interval like 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 1, 4, etc. So you can really either name the scale degree interval, or you can say, well, this is a perfect fourth, perfect fifth, or you can say the letter names at the same time, whatever floats your boat. I'm just going to take it up a notch in speed and see if you're able to follow. And back down. And good job. Now, second exercise, much harder. Now we have, in the first exercise, we have all the notes of the major scale within the same place, and we're going to go, okay, I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, perfect. Second exercise, we do all the 12 notes of the chromatic scale. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to play C, to a C sharp. So we can say this is a diminished second, or minor second, sorry. So that's for the first half step. Then I'm going to go, then a half step higher. Again. And same as we did, we go backwards. Fingerings are not really important, but you saw me puzzle around like, should I use the second finger, third finger, whatever. So work on these two exercises and prepare to be amazed. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe and share this video with anyone you think might like it. This is a really good little visual compass, which is basically how I personally perceive of intervals within a closed interval, a closed space of an octave, and then this is migrated anywhere. So whenever I play a note, I have my little compass, my little map geography around that note, so I'm aware of where physically these tones are and where the intervals are, and that's of course translated to any chord. If it's a D minor 7 chord, I go, oh, I have worked on a D note and its root, and I know where the flat 7 is, I know where the third is, I know all of this stuff. So it's really good and worthwhile to spend time doing the exercises, but also to work on the cognitive aspect. So to connect what I hear to what I see and to what I play physically. On that note, I will let you go. I'll see you soon on the website in the next video on jazz guitar lessons. Improve your jazz guitar playing with a real teacher. Thanks. See you next time.